listeners are as important as our guests. Join in on the conversation. 504-341-8255, the New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, good afternoon. This is You and Your Credit with your host, Remus Bowman, on the New Orleans Talk Network. Recently, I've noticed a lot of changes going down with credit reports, man. If you haven't asked for and received a current copy of your new credit reports, then you would not know the difference. Today's credit reports, whenever you send a request in, for a free credit report or through one of the many sources, they're going to send you back a credit report that has a history of up to 7 years on your account. Now, what is relevant about that is that when, back not very long ago, I had a friend that applied for a mortgage. And when that person applied for the mortgage, the bank told her, well, you missed the payment within the last 24 months. So by the banks looking now, or now readily having information going back to as much as 7 years available to them, they will be analyzing your credit reports a lot more seriously. It'll be right there for them. And so you say, well, what's the consequence of that? It means that it's going to have an adverse effect on your credit score, because in a lot of cases, in the past, when they were only using a 2-year window, when you miss payments during that 2 years, it was readily available. Now they're using a 7-year window, and it's easily accessible. That's going to bring the scores down. There was a time when the scoring model didn't even go up to 850. I'm not sure it's long before I got involved in the credit repair business, but I'm not sure what it went up to. But I was in the car business at one point. I guess this may have been 2001, 2002, and we would look at people, or maybe even before then, and we would look at people who had credit scores in the 600s, 610, 650. And that was like the same equivalence as a 700 or 750 in today's scoring model. So it's a big difference in what you're seeing out there versus what's going to be analyzed, or readily analyzed, by credit reporting agencies or by lenders. A lot of people don't realize that the more information that's on your credit report is the more information that is going to affect the scoring. So if your credit report is reflecting information for 7 years, that means that the scoring is reflecting 7 years. More often than not, most people would go back and they would make statements to a large degree of telling people, well, get your uh, get your credit reports, and there was a big debate over the years, and that debate had to do with uh, with the scoring, and we would most people would say that having older accounts on your credit report would establish, would be a good model to establish your payment history. But if over the years, and most people do, over a number of years, they're going to have situations where may miss payments because of bad health or, lack of income, or, everybody goes through adverse situations over a 7 year span. That's a pretty long time in most people's life to look at a full evaluation of an account. But it does tell a great deal about whether or not you are showing consistency. So now, because the scoring or because the information, and I'm not sure, and I may be getting ahead of myself when I say the scoring may be built on that complete 7 year history. My thoughts is that it's got to take away from your points, from your points if it's over 7 years and you've missed payments. Not very long ago, what we would tell people is that having your length of time in the credit bureau was a positive thing. As far as the scoring, it only counts as 15% of your scoring model. So having accounts or older accounts that are being shown, and they're shown in the with a lot of negative payment history, uh, may not be a good idea for you. So what you might want to consider is that if you have an account that shows a lot of adversity over a 7 year period, you might want to pay that account off or restructure that account with a new lender, because what happens is you know you maybe would have that account removed, and then that derogatory information is not going to follow you if it's been removed off your credit report. But if you continue to have the derogatory information on your credit report, and it's being shown for 7 years, so a person who's evaluating your credit history would have to see that information because it's right there. It's obvious that any account that you have, when it's an older account, will show a longer period of payment history. It's only 15% of your the total character of the scoring, and you may be better off, especially you've had if you've had some missed payments over that 7 year period. For example, in Louisiana, this is, well, of course, it's been 12 years now since Katrina, but immediately after Katrina, all hell broke loose from an economic standpoint. Most of the people who lived in the New Orleans area, so there were quite a number of payments that were missed during that window. So if depending on the lender, some lenders allowed some flexibility, some lenders didn't. There are a lot of lenders in today's market that are not very flexible, very rigid and very stern, because their character is that they want to push you into a lower credit score because they want to be the bank that you think is there for you after they've beat you down. It's just not a good idea. So, that's why for a long time you would see uh, advertisements for, or you receive on the internet or in the mail, information about refinancing credit cards that were being paid at higher interest rates. It's time for our first break. When we come back, we'll talk about the credit cards and the higher interest rates and moving out of that debt. This is Junior Credit with Remus Bowman on the New Orleans Talk Network. Hi, I'm Remus Bowman. I'd like to invite you to join me every Monday at 12 o'clock. We're going to provide information for you that's going to give you the opportunity to feel confident in whatever it is that you need. When you have a good credit score, you can get whatever you want at a low price, low interest rates, and that's the way it is. That's you and your credit on Mondays at 12 o'clock.
The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255.
Here at Jones Insurance, your full-service agency, let us take care of all your insurance needs. We provide homeowners insurance, flood, rental, commercial, auto, and life insurance. Don't let the unexpected tragedy destroy your family's future. Here at Jones Insurance, 7603 West Bank Expressway, Monroe, Louisiana, 772. Contact Lois at 504-348-1492.
Hi, thank you for joining. What we were just talking about was whether or not it was an advantage to maintain or to keep a credit card or to keep a loan that was being paid at a higher interest rate versus uh, liquidating that debt. Now, when I talk about liquidating the debt, I'm not saying not to pay off your high interest rate obligations. Please don't misunderstand that. Credit cards may start out at zero and might go all the way up to 20%. Based on your payment history. If you get a copy of your credit report, and and that lender, for that account that you have, it's reflecting derogatory payment history, you should seriously consider getting rid of that debt. Now, what you might want to do is, you might want to, if you can, contact the lender and ask them if they would allow you to restructure the image of their account. Some lenders may or may not allow you to do that. Others, the banks right now, because remember I spoke about the Consumer Protection Agency last week and how it had been dismantled. There's a lot of things that are going on in D.C. right now that most people are not even aware of. They have we have absolutely no idea about all the changes. You wake up one day and all of a sudden, things are different. And I was reading a story this morning, and it's kind of interesting, but I better not do that because I try not to get involved in politics. So we don't want to do a political show. We don't want to talk about politics, but because it's not why we're here. That's not going to help you. But here's the point. The point is, if you have a high interest consumer loan for an automobile, for a credit card, for a mortgage, sometimes we do second mortgages, and the interest rates are through the roof. You know, I remember I spent some time in the construction business as a licensed contractor. So we would sell people siding on windows, cabinets, and things like that. And of course, when you're adding those you're making those additions to your house, so you're not going to go through an actual full fledged mortgage. More often than not, it's going to be a second mortgage. Now, what you might want to look at is the interest rates that you're paying on those second mortgages, even though they're covered under HUD and that kind of thing. And boy, if the indication of what's going on with that poor brother, who's if that's any indication of how HUD is functioning right now, we probably all should be really taking very serious looks at our HUD accounts and what kind of protections and interest rates we're paying under those loans. You may be better off to just completely restructure that stuff and get rid of it, because it's probably costing you a lot of fees and a lot of additional penalties that you may not even be aware of. The objective of you and your credit is not just to have you go to my website and pull up your credit report. We'd like to encourage you to do that. But, my objective is to try to provide as much information as possible for people to understand what's really going on, and and how to answer some of the questions that you might have on how to liquidate some of the debt. If I've been on Facebook for quite a while now, and I see a lot of photos of people buying cars, and they talk about their interest rates. I mean, not the interest rates, but they talk about their uh, credit scores. And so, what that generally means is that when you have a low credit score, then you're going to be paying higher interest rates. Unfortunately, those interest rates, make most of those deals, unless you're in a situation where you just have to have a car. Most of those deals are not uh, very good deals for the average person who, once they take a look at it, I've had conversations with people who had good credit, and then once they realized what they signed on for, they said, "Well, wait a minute, this is not a good deal." And we really got to give some thought to, to some of these agreements that we're making. And I'm not saying that all the agreements are not good. That's not my point. That's, because I remember working some verifying people who had our customers at heart, and most people who walk in the car dealerships who have low credit scores are there because they have to be, you know, because they need a car, because they have to go to and from work or whatever transportation obligations they have. The end result is that they have to have transportation, and so they're kind of stuck. And when you're stuck in a situation, then all you can say is, "Hey, man, I really need transportation." So if that's where you are, then that's where you are, and so your objective is to solve that problem. But if that's not where you are, then what you should do is take a full evaluation of where your credit is today and how you can uh, stem the tide of the direction you're going in. Signing on to agreements that you won't be able to complete contracts on is not a very smart deal. It's just, right now we're at a position where there's a higher rate of people that are not paying credit cards and potentially having their automobiles repossessed than at any other time in the history of this country. And, and largely it's because it's an open market. And when I say it's an open market, think about it. Up until a couple of years ago, how many robocalls were you receiving? Now, if you go on the internet, and we all do, and we get bombarded with these uh, emails or text messages telling us that we've been approved for loans. So what happened is I have to, as a result of a person who wants to be in the know about what's going on, I have to occasionally, I have to delve into to this information, so I'll know exactly, the information about what direction this thing is going to go in. So I believe it was last week, and yeah, I'm sure it was. I'd gotten an email saying that I've been approved at 0% to refinance my current credit card balances, which they're already pretty low anyway. And I only have 3 cards. I don't believe in, I know some people that's got 8+ cards. It's crazy. It makes no sense to have a lot of financial obligations just hanging, that you don't even need. It just makes no sense. But anyway, so I decided that I was going to put in an application for one of the offers that had been sent to me. And when I tell you, it was like the craziest thing I ever saw. I believe that by filling out this one application, I thought that it's an application telling me I was pre-approved for XYZ. I said, let me take a full look at it, because I have to, look at this information occasionally. Let me see what's actually going on so that I can make, a decision, even though I wasn't really interested in it or didn't really need to do it. But before I realized it, my information had been shifted. It was like driving on the speedway, man. And it seems like your information is being sent from one company to another company to another company to another company, and and before you know it, I'm gonna wait a few days before I pull it up again, because I want to when I send the information in to to the credit bureaus, I will try to get rid of these inquiries because I didn't authorize these inquiries. So because I didn't authorize the inquiries, I'm going to, of course, try to get them off. Because what happens is inquiries 3 to 5 points for each one. So here we go. You s- your credit score is at a certain amount. Now all of a sudden, all these buffoons are they're attacking you. They're eating at your credit score like piranha in a pond, and they're nibbling at you, man. Your information is being passed around like it's on a pool table, making a bank shot. And at the end of when the scenario's over, your scores are reduced because of all the inquiries. You're getting bunches and bunches of phone calls from all over the place, and you've been made an offer that wasn't legitimate. Uh, and in some cases, these offers will be from, in the name of companies that you have a high opinion of or that have high credit, high rankings And so you think that they're legitimate offers. Hey, this is You and Your Credit on the New Orleans Talk Network. I'm your host, Remus Bowman. We'll be right back. Thanks.
Now New Orleans has a choice. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app for your mobile device or listen at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com.
New year, new show. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you there.
Are you looking for a home to live stream your next event? Give us a call here at Bethesda Community Event Center, the only place on the Gulf Coast that can host and broadcast live your wedding reception, your baby shower, business seminar, and any other special event. Give us a call at 504-708-9454 for more details.
Hey, we're back. This is You and Your Credit on the New Orleans Talk Network. I'm your host, Remus Bowman. And, we've been talking about high interest rates. Think about it. Now, when someone calls in to me and I put them in my software program, I send them out of what's known as a portal. And on that portal, it gives you an example of what you'll pay if your interest rates are 750 or 700 versus 588. And believe it or not, that's not going to show up on there on the website. Believe it or not, those interest that the amount that you're going to pay in an increase from a 588 at, I believe it was 14% versus 1.9% on a $23,000 vehicle. It's almost $12,000 difference. If your interest rate is lower, you only pay $1,500 over a 5 or 6 year period versus $12,000. Excuse me. And I'd be happy to send you this information if you'd like me to, or you notify me. I'll be glad to send you the information that you need. The point is that a lot of people are very afraid to open Pandora's box when it comes to their credit scores. So wait a minute, what can I do? I had a lady that called me last week and she says, "Well, I don't know what I can do about this." What was crazy is she told me that she'd gone. Now I met with her last year, and she told me that she'd gone out and canceled all her credit cards, and she was making monthly payments on the cards, which may have been a good deal or a smart decision because the cards that she had was all high interest cards because she had missed payments. So she was able to negotiate the payments down to, the interest payments down to a number that was easier for her to reach, which made more sense. Sometimes when those interest rates are through the roof, it just makes good sense to negotiate, to liquidate the obligation instead of trying to keep it and it's still showing as a derogatory account. Think about it. If you miss lots of payments, it's derogatory. If you pay it off and you still miss lots of payments, still derogatory. It's not a good. It's not going to turn into a good account uh, unless you have a little help from the lender. Now, if the lender agrees with you to allow you to reduce your interest rates, you got a shot. But if they don't, it's going to be very painful. And a lot of times we just don't want to we don't want to face that deal. But think about it. If you come into a few dollars and you can find a way to get rid of your high interest obligations all in one swipe, you can come back and and once you get rid of them, then that's going to help your credit scores to increase. Hey, we had a call on line one, Ms. Treeks. How you doing? Hello.
This is the Duchess.
Hey, Duchess, what's going on?
Oh, I'm just missing you. I can't wait to get signed up and get started.
How's life treating you?
Life is awesome. Now I just need my credit score.
Well, we're here to help you improve your score. That's not
Yeah.
that's not as difficult as you might think. We help people all the time with that. That's what we do.
But
Day in.
they say you're the special man, so I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you figure it out.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Miss Duchess. I appreciate it. We're ready to help you whenever you're ready to sit down and chat with us. By the way, I
I'm
appreciate
ready next week.
what that's fantastic. I appreciate you taking out the time to give me a call today. You know,
You came highly recommended, so I had to call.
thank you very much. Um, as a matter of fact, we've been, you and your credit's uh, been doing a great job, and we've been picking up quite a number of referrals from our existing customers, and that's a testament to how sincere we are about what it is that we do in our community. Um, I had one lady not very long ago. She says, because I told her, that we weren't going to charge her a large price. She says, "Why do you make any money on this?" I said, "Well, it's not about me making money. It's about me helping you to improve your credit scores. And the more people that you recommend, the more we can help our community, and that's my objective. Absolutely. So, how things been going with you?
Things been going great. So you're
Good.
gonna have to. George Russell been highly recommending you. So I kind
That
of trust in George's recommendation. So I'm gonna go ahead and try you.
that's my buddy, man. That's my buddy. I hadn't spoken to him in the last few days, but he's definitely one of my closest friends. Were you listening
Well,
to what we were talking about earlier?
yes,
I was talking about high interest rates.
yes, and I have all the above. Extremely high interest rate because I like the department stores. But
Yeah,
when I look at what I paid for it, I think I got a sale. Then I'm looking at how much I'm paying back. I'm like, wait a minute, they're raping me. I ain't getting no sale. I ain't getting no deal.
well, they gave you something. They gave you an emotional high. immediate gratification.
Uh-huh. They gave me an ass whooping. That's what they gave me. But they say you can help me out. So help me. I'm drowning.
I guarantee you, we've got a solution. You know, that's one of the reasons why I take the time to read as much as I do, to study as much as I do, because this is very serious business. And the thing is that when you have lower interest rates, and I say you can have whatever you want, but imagine if you walked into a retail store and you bought something for, let's say, 40, 50, or $100, and by the end of the time that you paid for it, because of the interest rates, even though they gave you a line of credit, it was 2 or 3 times the cost of what it is that you bought. Now, for some people, that doesn't make a lot of sense because it doesn't happen to you. But in a lot of cases, it happens to a lot of people. And right now, we're at one of the highest rates of default on credit cards. Because those interest rates are through the roof, and people are looking at them and say, "Wait a minute, I didn't know I signed this thing. How did I get involved in this?" And so the best way to alleviate the situation is to try to correct it by paying it out instead of walking away from the debt, because they have up until 3 to 4 years to go after you, garnish your wages, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And a lot of people are not thinking about those thoughts when they participate in these situations. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, a lot of people are getting high interest rates on their credit cards right now, and the banks are live. They're loving it. They're loving it. Last week, we did a show and we talked about uh, Capital One and Chase being sued because of some of the practices that they were doing during the Obama administration, and them having to pay back billions of dollars to consumers. Well, what's happened is because those instruments that tried to correct these banks from the predatory lending that they were doing have been removed largely by the current administration. They're going to be back to doing the same old thing. So eventually, it won't be long before you're going to see people, driving around and driving around nice cars, and they got lucky and got approved for an automobile loan, and they signed contracts that they couldn't afford. Uh, Imagine if you had to pay a $700 or $800 a month car note and $500 to $600 a month for insurance. Because remember, your
Hmm.
your automobile insurance is based on your credit score, just like your interest rates on your on
I
your
didn't
automobile
realize
loan.
that until I bought my car. Didn't realize that.
So you experience that situation.
Yes, I sure did.
You know a
And
lot. Go ahead. What were you about to say? Hello.
yeah.
What were you about to say?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah. So I experienced that also.
A lot of people are not aware of it. And when you tell them, hey man, your interest rates are going to be determined by your credit score, they go, nah, that's not true, man. First thing they ask you when you call into whatever insurance company or insurance agency you call into is your name and and your social security number. Hey, we have another call on line one, along with the Duchess. But it's time for our break, our last break. We're about to wrap up the show, and we got two great guys, great friends on the line. Hey guys, will you hang in there for me for just a couple of minutes? Hello,
Yes,
can you hang in there for me for a couple of minutes?
sure can.
All right, we'll be right back.
Listen up. Your customers, our listeners, could be hearing about your business right now. Yeah, right now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to advertise with NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Call our business department today at 504-475-4793 to hear about our great rates. NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. We provide the people, you provide the business.
Well, what's up, everybody? This boy, Coach Hurricane here. You can follow me on Facebook at Henry Singleton or on Twitter at HenryHayoU15.
Listen, this your boy, Fred. Listen, you can follow me on Facebook at Brandon Fred Jones, or you can follow me on Twitter at BFredJones.
This is Jeremiah Gray, man, with G Sports. You can follow me on Facebook, Jeremiah Gray, AKG, and on Twitter, G_paid in full 08.
Pay me the money! money!
This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare miss it.
We're back. Hey, this is Union Credit on the New Orleans Talk Network. Union Credit on the New Orleans Talk Network. We've been talking about some very serious stuff today. Things that a lot of people are, they're not really paying attention to. But, when you get at a certain point, that you have not eliminated your debt, but instead you've increased your debt, and adversity comes along, and you find yourself in a real adverse situation. Right now, they've changed the bankruptcy laws, so it's not quite as easy to get, once you've made bad decisions, with regards to your debt. Now you're going from Chapter 7 is very rare, so now most bankruptcies are Chapter 11 only, and, so you're paying even more for that same debt, because now you're paying the attorney fees, the court fees, the lenders, still gotta pay them, and so all this is on top of what you originally owed. So restructuring is very costly. When in reality we didn't have to get in a fish in that pond in the first place. We could have realized that we were heading in an adverse situation and taking on way too much responsibility, and that couldn't be sustained. And a lot of people are just not getting it. They're just not getting it, especially on credit cards, because credit cards, the interest rates can fluctuate. They can go from 0 to whatever. A lot of times we find ourselves thinking that it's an easy way, when in reality, it may be just be prolonging an inevitable situation. Well, I've enjoyed doing the show today. I hope that I've given you some information that that you can take advantage of. And I'm going to also invite you to go to youandyourcredit.us, uh, youandyourcredit.us, or youandyourcredit.com, youandyourcredit.net, which is the websites that connected to the show, and where you will find answers to a lot of your problems. Uh, and again, if you don't have a copy of your credit report, you can get them through you and your credit, or you can get them through different websites that are available to you for free. But the biggest problem that we have is that most people are afraid to even take a look at this information. You're not doing yourself a favor by not opening this door. You know, Sometimes there's some people that have Bibles on their coffee table or center table in the house, but they they walk by them and they dust them off, and they never open it up, so they never get the benefit of the instruction that's inside those books. As the same way uh, with your credit report. If you don't go into the credit report and find out what's on there, so you think because you walked into a car dealership and you were able to get a loan for a car, that's a good thing, right? Is it really? Because there's a very good chance that if you have made a few adjustments and got just a little bit of education on what was happening with your information and whether or not uh, you could improve your score before you walked into the car dealership, maybe it would have saved you a significant amount of money. Have you ever thought about that? Think about it. Would it be easier for you to pay a $500 a month note versus a $350 a month note for the same vehicle? Imagine if you could buy the same car for 350, 335, 350, 345 versus 500, 520 for the same car. And that's what the differences are. And not to, again, like I said, even when you're doing that, interest rates are based on your credit scores. So in car insurance is based on your credit scores as well. Everything goes hand in hand. All the restrictions, all the things that make life easier starts with your credit score. You go in and you put in an application for a job. What's your credit? I mean, what's your social security number? You go and you put in an application for a lease, or you go to Cox Cable and you ask for a some cable for your household. Run that credit, man. First things out the door. So go to you and your credit .us, or if you're on uh, the website, the Facebook site right now, you can easily go to you and your credit, or my FES page, or even my personal page, Remus Bowman, and there are lots of links that will take you directly to the website, and there's a big red button that says free credit scores. Free. So uh, those opportunities are available now. That does not mean that 6 months from now, or 30 days from now, or a year from now, they're going to always be there. They may not. But here's the thing. If you do nothing, nothing's going to change. Just walking to a car dealership and being able to sign your name on a contract for a high interest personal loan, that's not really doing anything great. You have no idea what you're sticking yourself with, and whether or not you can truly afford those type of loans. And so here you go. You're in a worse situation. Let's say you want to move into a house, and you gotta, you need to have your credit checked for, even jobs, certain jobs. You gotta have a certain credit score to get certain jobs. Believe me. Go to youandyourcredit.us. Go on my website. Pull your scores. Let us work with you to improve your credit. I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Remus Bowman. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.